Time for another program opening. This was in the package with the Cotton Bowl one that we did previously. This is the 1976, same season, December 31st, 1976, from the now defunct Bluebonnet Bowl in the Astrodome in Houston. This was Texas Tech against Nebraska. Nebraska would win this game 17-14, and it's a program that I've wanted to have for a long time. This is inside cover, another one of those beautiful 1970s cars. This is the Thunderbird, which is far from the classic look. There's the Bluebonnet Bowl trophy. Hello from the state of Texas, Governor Doyle Briscoe. This is I don't know who the hell. Both these guys claim they're the governor, so I don't know what to tell you. And the mayor of Houston. Now, welcome to the Astro Bluebonnet Bowl, with the history of the bowl games. With the first one in 1959 in Houston. I guess that was at Rice Stadium. It does say that. And there's a picture of the iconoclastic, like that word, Astrodome. Here's the board of directors for the Bluebonnet Bowl. Well, the Queen's in her court. You know, I can never resist these, just in case we would ever stumble upon anyone famous. It does not appear to be the case this time. Have we gotten one yet? I don't think so. Superb matchup here. The Bluebonnet Bowl with the Red Raiders entering the game 10-1. And I think Nebraska was 8-3-1, it says. And Nebraska would win this game, I think it was 17-14. Or it might have been 21-17. Not sure, didn't look it up. This is the TVS broadcast with Merle Harmon, who called a lot of games in the 70s for TVS, which was syndicated television. Saw it a lot on the UHF channels and Metro Media, things like that. And his color analyst is Alex Hawkins, who was a running back mainly with the Colts, although he was with a few other teams. And this was the number one pairing for the World Football League in their 2 years of existence. Schlitz. Those in the know wear Harold's clothes. And that is Frank Broyles, the then football coach and athletic director at Arkansas. I guess that's his son or brother Hank, who looks a lot like wrestling great Les Thatcher. And there's Harold Weisenthal, the clothier. And boy, did he do a fine job with those. You could probably stand out in the middle of a hurricane and those clothes wouldn't get wrinkled. There's some game activities. Today's halftime, a salute to Houston. A quick little look at Texas Tech. Their athletic director at the time was J.T. King, former head coach. And looking at the Red Raiders games from that season. 10-1 season for Steve Sloan and his staff. So look at the Raiders and their bowl record at the time with some of their players. Thomas Howard, who would have an NFL career, and his son would as well, Thomas Howard Jr. Larry Isaac would play in the NFL briefly. And here's the Red Raiders. I guess this is going to be how they're going to do the team. Rodney Allison was their star quarterback and was thought of to be a Heisman contender the following season, 1977, but he got hurt early in the season, and I'm not sure if he ever played pro ball. I don't believe he did. Tommy Donovan, who started ahead of Allison and then lost the job, he would be like the Houston Oilers' third stringer for a few years at quarterback. Don't know if he ever appeared in the game. James Hadnot, who was a tight end then, but in a few years would be the star running back, and he would be a third-round pick and spend a few years with the Kansas City Chiefs. There's Thomas Howard. Dan Irons was a All-American, but I can't remember if he played pro ball or not off the top of my head. Larry Isaac, as I mentioned earlier. Billy Taylor, I believe, played with the Giants for a little bit. Here's the alphabetical Texas roster. Another lovely, this is the Caprice sedan. Another lovely 1970s car. There's the middle of the lineup card with both teams' lineups. I'm sure we'll be getting to Nebraska shortly. So many of these college magazines in the 70s, it's always cars and color TVs. Yeah, now we'll go to Nebraska and their season. Husky cheerleaders, homecoming king and queen, Tom Osborne, and his assistants. I must have missed Texas assistants. Warren Powers would be head coach at Missouri eventually. And there's Monty Kiffin, the dad of Lane Kiffin, looking more like the dad of an insurance salesman. Jerry Moore, who would be the head coach at Texas Tech and Appalachian State. Now I'm interested. I want to go back and see if I can find Texas Tech coaches, just for my own personal. Oh, well, there you go. Aren't you glad I came back? Look at that. Rex Dockery, who would eventually become the head coach at Tech and Memphis State and die in a plane crash while recruiting from Memphis. And there's a fellow by the name of Bill Parcells as the defensive coordinator. Multiple winning Super Bowl coach with the New York Giants. And took the New England Patriots to a Super Bowl and the Jets to a couple AFC title games. And down in the left-hand corner, Romeo Crennel, who former head coach of the Cleveland Browns and interim coach would coach the Kansas City Chiefs, and this past year was the interim coach for the Houston Texans. So I'm glad I came back to take a look at it. Oh, that's a pretty good staff for college football. This is where we left off. Some highlight pictures of the Huskers. Let's see how many of these guys we recognize. George Andrews would be a first-round pick of the Rams. Would have a decent career. Rick Burns was a solid fullback for them. I don't know if he played pro. I think he may have played in the USFL, but I'm not positive. Kelvin Clark, who was a first-round pick of the Broncos, had a career played for Denver and New Orleans. Vince Ferragamo, who had that one magical postseason to take the Los Angeles Rams to their first Super Bowl, and would eventually go to the CFL. But I'll just to double back here. In 1977, that is a pretty solid stack of stars for 1977 that covers about every aspect from pop to teeny bop to country. Casey and the Sunshine Band, Conway Twitty and Loretta Lynn, Roy Clark, Mac Davis, Mel Tillis, the Osmonds, Helen Reddy, who recently passed away, Merle Haggard, and Charlie Pride, who recently passed away. Boy, a lot of these people within the last year or so, it seems like they passed away. I think Roy Clark, Mac Davis, Helen Reddy, Charlie Pride, I think they've all passed away within the last year. Be grateful I won't sing. Mike Fultz, I think he was a Saints draft pick. Is it just me, or maybe it's the fact that I'm older, that the college players in the 60s and 70s and 80s looked like grown men, and the guys that play college now, they look like kids? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's me, but these guys seem like they are grown men compared to what you see in a similar program today. Ray Phillips, I know, played for the Boston Breakers. Jim Pillen is the guy who fell on the fumble of Billy Sims when Nebraska pulled the upset of then undefeated Oklahoma a few years later. Brown and Root, the people that built Lyndon Johnson. The uniform of the day. For your game plan, we don't guarantee your people will look this good, but the fit will be just as great. Nothing beats a little sexual entendre with your college football. There's the bowl committees, Houston's newest tradition, back to French's mustard, The official boot of the 1976 Bluebonnet Bowl, Justin Boots. I can just hear Vince McMahon doing this. Teamwork, quick copy, which at that time probably wasn't all that quick. The Mutual Radio Network. You know what? I'm not familiar with Pat Sheridan and or Don Gill. It's not often that catches me off guard, but this one did. Committee candidates. America's favorite margarine, Bluebonnet margarine. Everything's better with Bluebonnet on it. A few of the Nebraska statistics and the previous Bluebonnet Bowls in the past. The previous Bluebonnet Bowl, it was the Texas Longhorns defeating the Colorado Buffaloes 38-21. And coming attractions at the beautiful Astrodome. Astros baseball, Oilers football, the Astrodome was a big deal in the 60s and the 70s. Before bigger and better, but there's always a special spot to be first. Like when people talk about beautiful ballparks, Camden Yards in Baltimore was the first, and it always seems to come up. And another beautiful Zenith television. We're going to stop here today. No standbys. Tomorrow, maybe the next one we'll do a few smaller ones to get them all done. So that is the Texas Tech Red Raiders against the Nebraska Cornhuskers, the 18th annual Bluebonnet Bowl. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Make an old guy happy. Even though it puts no dollars in my pocket, it's good for my emotional well-being. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.